Welcome to layout 3 in our For Love of Homemade Kit series. Today I'm going to focus on my embroidery thread. I have this cut file that I drew with sketch pens with my silhouette, and I'm going to go ahead and hand stitch that flower. I'm also going to use my textured paper today, which is this gold foil dot paper from Jen Hatfield, and these pretty flowers. So I have a lot of stitching to do, and it's going to take me quite a while, so I'm going to do it off camera, and I will be back in a little bit with my hand-stitched flower. Bye! So in video time, this took no time at all. In real life, it took a day and a half. But my flower's all stitched. Now I have a collection and assortment of print and cut files. I have some other things that I want to use from my homemade kit, and I'm going to color match now because I'm also going to do some hand lettering on this layout. So I'm going to match up some of my distress crayons with some of these cut files. These are some of the print and cut files from the Amy Tangerine Finders Keepers line, Finders Keepers line, which was the inspiration piece for our kits this time. So what I'm doing is I chose 2 distress crayons. I chose Spiced Marmalade and Salty Ocean, and I'm just writing out my title with the distress crayons, and then I'm going to take this water brush and I'm going to smudge the ink so it doesn't look like crayons, if that makes sense. Like, it's just going to smooth out my hand lettering. It's also going to give it a little bit of a halo around it of the lighter orange and the lighter blue. I'm so sorry for the glare. I turned my page in a couple of minutes because I realized it's glaring, so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm just smudging the crayons. I really, really like doing hand lettering with distress crayons because they're easy to maneuver. It's just, writing. And I am by no means a hand lettering professional or proficient at it. I took a class and I do it a little bit, but not a ton. So what I'm doing here is I'm just smudging those distress crayons to make a little bit of a halo and to smudge the crayon a little bit. And now you can see them up in the top left of my screen. So there's a lot of steps and a lot of things I did with this layout. This circle piece is a die cut from Amy Tangerine's newest line, Oh Happy Life, I think it's called. And it's a resist. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my watercolor paints from my kit, and I am just coloring in this circle. So some of the circle is colored in blue and some is colored in orange. And I realized that if the blue and the orange got together too much, I would end up with mud. So I was just really careful, but I wanted some blue and some orange because I'm going to cut that apart. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and grab my background paper, and I'm going to have to hand cut. I want to cut the gold piece diagonally, and I have to hand cut it here. You see me, and this is sped up pretty fast, and I'm still cutting it super slow because I knew it was going to be a little bit wonky. So I'm trying to decide here. I know that I want to put something there to kind of break, to kind of help with my edge, and I'm considering some of the papers from the kit, and now I'm kind of looking at washi tape, and I do love that floral, but I want something that blends in a little bit and just smooths that diagonal edge. And so the one I'm going to choose is this white washi from my stash, and it is from Felicity Jane. And so I'm just going to use that to kind of cover up where I messed up my diagonal because I hand cut it. And so here is where my pictures are going to go. I only put adhesive in the middle of it because I wanted to create a frame around these photos. And now I'm going to fussy cut. So all of these flowers, I don't think any of them actually stay in the configuration that they are in. I am going to cut them all apart and kind of fit them in different spots. So there's 2 print and cut files. One is called Watercolor Flowers, and that's that one with the pink and the yellow leaves. The other one is from the Finders Keepers collection. It's a print and cut because I didn't have the ephemera, but I just discovered that the print and cut files are on the Silhouette store. So I bought a couple to use in some of my kit layouts. And then I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut my hand lettered title. So there's lots of fussy cutting, and I'm going to use one of the 3x4 that Project Life card. That's from the Old Happy Life collection by Amy Tangerine, and I'm going to end up cutting that apart as well. And I'm going to cut this resist piece and tuck it in places. So yeah, there's lots of fussy cutting on this layout, lots of different elements that I cut apart, and I'm just creating a frame. I'm going to create a frame around my photos, and I ended up, the only piece of paper that I used was that textured paper from my kit, which is good because I'm running out of paper a little bit. I think I have just enough paper to get through my last layout next week, and then I will be ready to create and start a new kit. So what I did was I just want to make sure that I am keeping enough of these flowers, that I have enough to put at the bottom and then enough to layer around my stitching at the top. And I want to make sure that each type of flower, so some of the Finders Keepers print and cut flower, some of the fussy cut flowers from that 3x4 card, some of the watercolor circle, I want to make sure that I evenly distribute it between the bottom part of my layout and the top part of my layout to give it some continuity, and so that they kind of work together even though they're kind of two separate parts to the layout, if that makes sense. And yeah, there was a lot of fussy cutting on this layout. So I didn't have a lot of journaling for this layout, but I went ahead and put it right on that diagonal line. And that was kind of why I chose the washi that really kind of blended in, because I knew I was going to put my journaling somewhere around there, and I wanted it to be able to stand out a little bit so you definitely could see my journaling. And now I'm just fussy cutting some more flowers. So I wanted to create a cluster of these flowers around my embroidered flower. And I was kind of really careful about this because I did end up not necessarily covering the embroidered flower, just that top little piece up there. I wanted them to interact. I wanted the embroidered flower to be interacting with all of my fussy cut flowers so that they kind of went together. So I did allow them to kind of touch and overlap a tiny bit, but not much at all, because of course I did all that work on the embroidered flower and I wanted that to really be the star, but I wanted the other things to kind of interact, and I wanted the layout to feel cohesive. So that was how I did that. I just took the flowers from the bottom and that circle water resist die cut, and I just cut everything up and placed it around the flower. And I think the only one that's really touching the embroidered flower is the one that fits up in the corner right there, and that other one beside it. So I did cover a little bit, but it kind of needed to be covered a little bit just so that they interact and kind of touched and all felt like they went together. So now I'm just going to glue them down, and I'm going to trim the edge, and you can see all my crazy washi tape adventures on the back from my embroidering. I'm not a horrible embroiderer. When I was younger, I used to cross stitch and embroider, and so I'm really not that bad at it, but I don't like the knots, so I end up putting all of the strings down with my washi tape. And here I am just making sure everything is stuck down. Now I have that little watercolor piece down at the bottom, and now I'm going to cut this little piece that I have left over, and I'm going to create a banner for it at the top. And then I just had one little triangle with the orange on it, and I hadn't done any of the orange at the bottom, so you'll see me here kind of tuck it in as another layer and as almost like a little photo corner up at the top. For a last little touch to this layout, I'm going to sprinkle the top half with some navy blue and then peach Heidi Swap Color Shine, and here's our finished layout. I hope you enjoyed this process video, and I hope that you'll go and check out all the other girls today with their videos. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Bye!